Redefining what it means to win. It seems like most of us have been conditioned with a particular definition of winning. Over the last few months, I've been starting to realize just how flawed our understanding of winning really is. Do we actually know what it means to win? I'm not sure. Perhaps it's because we have examples of successful people in the mainstream that lead us to think the way that we do. The first couple of names that come to mind are in the basketball world. Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan are examples of notable figures who emphasize their desire to be the best. They are ideal examples of committed winners. They're both basketball players, but the same types of people can be found in the corporate world along with other sports. By no means am I suggesting that they're wrong in the way they approach what they do. What I am suggesting is that we misunderstood their motives, methods, and intent. Why do we have it wrong? Winning isn't about the final outcome like we've come to think it is. Winning should come down to the relative improvement we make in comparison to ourselves on a day-to-day basis. Losing a game shouldn't crush us. Our inability to turn our disappointment into more training is what should crush us. Any wins that we get along the way should come as a bonus result of the wins that we made when no one was watching. We fall into a trap of flawed action if we hold on to the flawed way of thinking. Maybe what made successful people like Kobe and Jordan successful was their tendency to love the process and define winning as the constant improvement through practice. Jordan did, after all, say, quote, "I've practiced so hard to make the game easy," end quote. This brings to mind a few ideas around winning that I'll outline below. Continuous improvement forever. At no point in our journey should we feel like there's an end point to get to. Our habits and actions should be focused on wins that no one sees. These small wins are wins over ourselves, and they never end. There's always something to improve at. On top of that, the better we get at our craft, the more subtle our perceived shortcomings become. Based on the Jordan quote mentioned above, it's easy to see that regardless of how good Michael Jordan got, the need for practice never went away. It's not like he went into a game with a tenacious need to win without the training to back it up. However, when we watch him, the easy conclusion to come to is that he was gifted. Although he had a gift, he would have never seen it without trying to win through his training and working hard. If winning means constantly improving, or at the very least attempting to, then we'll never lose. Even in losing a game or match, we learn to improve. So depending on how we define what it means to win, even losing could mean winning. Improvement over accolades. The actions we decide to take in our lives come down to the intentions we have. However, we don't always just have one intention. More often than not, we have primary, secondary, and sometimes tertiary intentions. The intention of wanting the glory of a win can often get in the way of our steady improvement and mastery. Imagine if our primary intention was to be the best version of ourselves that we could be. That would mean that we would be content with our effort to improve every day. Any glory that might come out of that would be a bonus. The thing is, we shouldn't get hung up on the glory itself. If our self-worth came down to wins and losses, we would consider taking shortcuts or cheating the techniques of our art as a means of getting a win. Win at any cost only feeds the ego. Imagine if we could quiet that screaming voice in need of validation and instead chose to walk the infinite path towards mastery. Making the decision would mean that our definition of what it means to win would be rooted in doing better than the version of ourselves from yesterday. Quieting the screaming ego. Taking orders from the relentless and angry ego only leads us to torment. Quieting that screaming voice helps us to focus on the training that we've put in over the years. With that being said, it's not necessarily true that we should completely eliminate the ego. The ego can be important in helping us to be motivated to want to improve. Instead, we should have our hands tightly held on the reins of the untamed horse that is the ego. So instead of listening to that screaming voice out of fear, we need to lower the volume and use it as motivation to grow for the love of the craft that we've chosen. If we fall victim to that screaming voice, we'll be afraid to lose, which will ultimately get in the way of winning. Welcoming losses. Losing tempts us to be angry. What is it that we get angry with? Why show the face of losing during a losing effort? it doesn't help us to win. If you think about it, the anger isn't meant to be revealed in the middle of a losing effort. It should be harnessed and put towards a renewed effort to improve in practice. In the middle of a losing effort, we should be smiling. The loss has shed light on an opportunity for improvement. Quote, "Great ones are willing to get burned time and time again as they sharpen their swords in the fire." End quote. Josh Waitzkin, The Art of Learning. Obviously, swallowing losses with the right mindset is easier said than done, but I think that if we direct our attention towards improving our reaction to losses, we'll see improvements. Eventually, we'll move towards a mindset that seeks out resistance and challenges that put us at risk of losing a lot. If the negative feelings get the better of us, we'll start to fear anything that comes with losing. We'll begin to avoid situations that make us more likely to lose. We'll never improve. What it means to win. Ultimately, I think that we're after purpose in our lives. Each of us is on our own unique path, and as a result, we're going to be presented with unique interests and opportunities. It's up to us to make the most of the things that we do, not for the glory, not for the accolades, but for the betterment of ourselves and the craft that we chose. If we choose to redefine what it means to win, we'll approach everything we do with a different mindset. We'll choose the infinite path of improvement over the short-term opportunity for praise. Our efforts will be used to help us realize the best version of ourselves. Our main motive will be to quiet the screaming ego that only wants us to dominate, gain attention, and stay comfortable. We'll welcome losses because we know deep down that losing and resistance are the doorway to advancement and the actualization of our potential. Redefining what it means to win ultimately puts us on the path of infinite improvement and allows us to discover new potential. If you enjoyed this article, you can find more like it at www.banafit.com. That's www.banafit.com. Thanks for listening.